Right now, let's get opinions from Russell Brown at publicaddress.net, the hard news blog there, also to the Media 7 show on TVNZ7. Morning, Russell.
Good morning.
Good morning. Very shortly we will be talking about the MMP referendum, also avocados, but first up, looking at the science policy from the various parties in this election.
Yeah, the Science Media Centre, which typically does a lot of this useful stuff, actually sent out a policy Q&A to the various political parties and got back responses from four of them: National, Labour, the Greens and ACT.
Yep.
And it's worth a read. I've digested it on Public Address, so if you are interested, you can read my summary at publicaddress.net, and there's a link through to the full answers. It's kind of interesting because really Labour, the Greens and National appear to say roughly the same things on a lot of issues, particularly on sustainability, waterways, biosecurity, that sort of thing. And ACT are the absolute outliers. Sometimes seem somewhat divorced from reality.
Are they anti-science?
They're anti. They believe no public science should be conducted at all.
Right. Okay.
The state has no place in science, and they have no policies on various things because they. On biosecurity, ACT does not have a policy on specific science or innovation for these challenges. Science and innovation, by their very nature, are about discovering new knowledge, so it would be presumptuous to say we already know.
Because the market will work it out.
Yeah, so there's no point. Yeah, no point in doing any research into science at all because it's unknowable.
Okay.
Yeah, WTF. It is interesting though. There's a few surprises. I am surprised that Labour still seem to think the CRI, Crown Research Institute model is working well, because if you talk to scientists, very few of them think that. The contestable model has broken in various ways. You need some continuity and institutional knowledge in science, and it's been a real problem that no one knows whether their research is going to be funded from year to year. And oddly enough, even National, thanks to Peter Gluckman, who yesterday put out a brief press release saying, "Don't ask me for comment." He can't comment during the election campaign, but he did deliver a report that says, basically this thing needs to be looked at, and the Greens believe it should too. But yeah, it's actually a shame that there isn't more policy-focused reporting. This is a common complaint during election campaigns, but...
Well, an example, of course, is moving on to our next topic, is this evil Robin Malcolm, who stood up for the Greens on the weekend, and then for 2 days in a row on the front page of the Herald, being crucified, I think.
Oh, completely
one way to say it.
Before we start, I would just like to claim ownership of the evil Robin meme.
Yes,
I started that.
I did see
I'm
that.
Very proud of it. But the moment she'd done it, and I think the Herald did really, really cue this by going front page nutso on it. There have been, people demanding apologies, and also Cameron Brewer, which is pure self-publicity, saying that Robin Malcolm should no longer be the public face of a new recycling program because she's clearly too politically partisan. For goodness sake, it is an election campaign. Citizens are allowed to have opinions. I just thought that was ridiculous. And getting 2 whole days out of it, it was irrelevant.
But also the games that seemed to be played on the web version of the Herald yesterday morning, with the story initially coming under one heading, and then someone obviously said, "Oh, that's not sexy enough. Let's put outrageous in the title of that as well." And I was watching it evolve over the period of half an hour as someone there in the background was tutoing away with the headline.
Yeah, me too. I was watching it as well, and I thought that one of the funniest things was that they were moving this Robin Malcolm story around, trying to make it look as zingy as possible.
Yeah.
And ignoring a fairly obvious spelling mistake in the headline of one of the stories that they were moving it around. Which took them quite a long time to correct. Yeah, they were clearly looking for maximum, sensation and zing in this. It is a little bit depressing when your paper of record behaves that way.
Interesting. This morning, talking to Selwyn Manning, we were reflecting on the 1984 election campaign, and we dug back through the NZ On Screen archives to look at the debate between Muldoon and Longy back then, and the quality of the debate and the quality of issues being discussed back then would blow anything out of the water that we have in our newspapers or on TV today.
That's a very, very important point. I mean, some of the older current affairs shows, you look at them and it's hard to keep your eyes open because it is so detail-focused and fine-grained and not at all sexy. But you have to say, wow, back in the day we did actually discuss policies, didn't we?
Yeah.
Whereas what we've had, even at the press debate, which people generally agree was more worthwhile than the over-formatted TV1 debate, it still came down to a lot of shouting and slogans and John Key being deemed the winner with his "Show me the money" line. I don't know whether we're much richer intellectually from what happened there, though.
Exactly.
It is depressing.
Yeah.
But I have to say, word up for Graham Edgeworth at Public Address,
Yep.
who has been doing a series of blog posts under the theme Referendum Fact Check. Graham is an electoral lawyer. He's very interested in the electoral system referendum that's coming up along with the general election here. We get to decide on the future of MMP or another system that we subsequently choose. And it's absolutely amazing how many people in the media make basic mistakes about it. He's up to number 6 now. The one that's up there this morning looks at the discussion of the MMP referendum on the panel.
Yeah.
And even good journalists like Matt Nippert from NDR have made the odd mistake as well. It is really, really worth reading.
You got to wonder how the average person on the street can then go and vote for their preferred system.
Well, exactly.
If the experts aren't getting it right,
is not getting a very high quality of information on this referendum.
Yeah.
All I can do is encourage you to read Graham Edgeworth's blog because he knows what he's talking about, and he even had a little tool for you to rank your priorities in an electoral system, and then you hit the button and it tells you what you want.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move on to Jeff Dixon, who's made some comments about the Rugby World Cup, and they're really, really wrong.
Oh, I'm almost feeling sorry for the guy now. I mean, there'll be lots of sort of unkind muttering about the quality of AUT research. He's from AUT's New Zealand Tourism Institute, and oddly enough, in an advertising feature in the Herald, he declared that the Rugby World Cup may have provided a point of celebration for a lot of New Zealanders, but I do not subscribe to the all of New Zealand argument. Look at the ethnic communities that live here. I just don't see the migrant or refugee communities engaging in the World Cup to any significant level. And oddly enough, this has become a story via those communities. There are a lot of migrant New Zealanders who are actually really upset about this because if you were actually out on the streets during the Rugby World Cup, you would have been surrounded by a hell of a lot of New Zealanders. It was a lot of the representation was about Auckland's ethnic diversity,
wasn't it? Yeah. You can only see that with all the flags.
Yeah, exactly.
Around the place. Yeah.
Wow, who knew there were so many Tongans in town?
Yeah.
But not just the island nations either. When I went to the All Blacks victory parade the day after, as well as a lot of hungover-looking people, there were a lot of people from our migrant communities. I had Chinese New Zealanders either side of me cheering.
Yeah.
On the way there, I passed a woman in full chador, like a burqa, waving a silver fern flag.
Very cool.
So, which is neat that they felt involved. And a Chinese blogger called Bevan Chuang has written a fascinating thing about Chinese youth in New Zealand posting feeds, updates on scores on Weibo, which is like Twitter in China. And it actually kind of even caught on over there. So something quite nice happened there. Yeah,
that is cool. There's a blog there, bevchuang.wordpress.com.
Yeah, that's it.
Check that out. And finally, Russell, avocados.
Oh, wow. I don't know whether you've noticed it, but apparently it's just a glut. But I cannot recall avocados being as big, as yummy, and as affordable as they are at the moment.
Yeah. And ripe? Are they ripe? Are they ripe at the moment?
They're perfect. Because usually with avocados, half the problem is they're either unripe or they're gone.
Yeah.
These big buttery numbers, 99 cents at my local shop.
For one?
For one.
That's not bad, eh?
And they're huge.
Yeah.
And they're buttery and delicious. I got some organic ones at at La Cigala a couple of weeks ago that were just, my God, these are the best avocados ever.
What's your favourite thing to do with them?
I've been making a bit of guacamole, actually.
Yeah?
They come up beautifully for that, but just sticking them in salads, basically.
Yeah. Chop them up. Spread them on toast and Marmite.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that's a good combo with a bit of salt and pepper.
I can see that. Yes, these are difficult times, but at least the avocados are good.
Indeed. Thanks very much, Russell.
Righto.
Cheers.
See ya.
Russell Brown at publicaddress.net, the Hard News blog there, Media 7 Show, TVNZ 7.